Hare Krishna. So we'll chant the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayo Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayo Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda, Jayo Srinivas Govinda. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Anantadev, Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Anantadev. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Jai Shri Shri Nittai Gauranga ki, Jai Shri Srinivas Govinda ki, Shri Lakshmi Narsimhadev Anantadev ki, Jagat Guru Shila Prabhupada ki, Nittai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be discussing from 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita, text number 8. So before we start, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So please repeat the words after me. Mayyeva mana adatsva, Mayyeva mana adatsva, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, Nivasisyasi mayyeva, Nivasisyasi mayyeva, Ata urdvam na samsayaha, Ata urdvam na samsayaha, Mayyeva mana adatsva, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, Nivasyasi mayyeva, Ata urdvam na samsayaha. So please repeat the word to word meanings. Mai, unto me. Eva, certainly. Manaha, mind. Adatsva, fix. Mai, upon me. Buddhim, intelligence. Niveshaya, apply. Nivasisyasi, you lead. Mai, unto me. Eva, certainly. Ataha, therefore. Urdhvam, up. Na, never. Samsayaha, doubt. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. So please repeat the translation. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always, without a doubt. Purport. One who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane. He lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishnized by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such service cannot understand how this is so, although this is a process recommended in the Gita and in other Vedic literatures. Thus ends the purport. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today this 12th chapter, 8th verse is very conclusive instruction. And there's a reason for this. Prabhupada actually explains that this Bhagavad Gita, total how many chapters are there? Many of you should be knowing. 18 chapters, right? So Prabhupada says this 18 chapters actually is divided into 3 sections. And 18 by 3 is 6, right? So it's easy. So that's how even Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, is organized. There are the first 6 chapters, the middle 6 chapters, and the last 6 chapters. And Prabhupada says the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters are very much like the covering of a book. Like Prabhupada gives an example, like if you have a book, you have the hardcover, in the front, right, in the top portion, and there's the main book in the center, and then there is the end, hardcover. So Prabhupada said very much like Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters are very much like the coverings. They are like the preliminary information. Sometimes you see in the front cover, back cover, there is some information. So Prabhupada says they are like the coverings, and the middle 6 chapters, the 6 to 12, they are like the the core of Bhagavad Gita, the essence. And actually, to go even finer, Prabhupada says the last section contains of from chapter 13 to 17, and 18th chapter is the summary, the conclusion of all the 17 chapters. Now in this middle 6 chapters, between 7 to 12, we are in the last chapter, the 12th chapter. So again, it's coming to a very conclusive, like if the middle 6 chapters are the core, and towards the end, when it is concluding, there is a very conclusive statements, there are very conclusive instructions. So here in this particular verse, Krishna is giving a very conclusive instruction to Arjuna, which will be, it's not of very much surprise, because even in the ultimate conclusion in the 18th chapter, it's a very similar verse. So, this kind of proves the whole analogy of the middle 6 chapters being the core essence, and it is being reiterated again in the 18th chapter. So what is Krishna saying here? He is giving a very conclusive instruction, and actually this instruction, if one applies this, this is like the highest stage of perfection, if one can come to this. And because this is very high, Krishna doesn't leave anyone disappointed. If someone thinks, oh well, this is a very high state of consciousness to be in. So the next 3 verses, Krishna goes on saying, from this highest level, if you can't be at this stage, then he speaks in the next verse, what is the next stage you can do? If you can't do this, you can do something, little lesser than this. And even if you can't do that, what is something that you can do even, lower than that, right? So there's the highest stage, and if you can't be at that level, okay, something little lesser than that you can be there. Why? So if you're at a lower stage, you can come to that, the highest stage at some point of time. So in the next 3 verses, this is 8, 9, 10, and 11, Krishna goes on talking about different levels. If you can't be at this state that I'm talking about in this 8th verse, well, I will give you, one more. Maybe this is possible for you. If you think even that is difficult for you, I will give you one more. And if you think even that is difficult, in the 11th verse, he's saying, well, this is something you have to do if you want to advance spiritually, right? So those will be discussed in the next few Sundays when the next levels are discussed. But let's talk about this, the highest state of perfection that Krishna is talking about here. So what Krishna is saying is, Mayeva mana adatsva, right? He's saying, just fix your mind upon me. And then he's saying, and very clearly Prabhupada in the translation is also saying, when we say fix your mind upon me, now the word me, sometimes people can misinterpret. So Prabhupada is making very clear, no, Krishna is saying to fix the mind upon me. And who is Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because sometimes, unfortunately, there were some interpretators, when they read these verses, they say, oh, me means here the person, something, they will try to make up something. But here Prabhupada is saying that, me means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Krishna is speaking. So one should fix his mind upon Krishna, and then he's saying, and engage all your intelligence in me, right? All the intelligence, everything, we all have very high level of intelligence, right? And our various levels of intelligence is what is driving various things that we do, from our profession, from our career, our job, our activities and everything. So Krishna is saying, even that intelligence you fix upon me. And then what will happen? If your mind is in him and your intelligence is in him, Krishna is saying, you will actually live in me. Always, right? If you're always thinking of Krishna, and if you're always using your intelligence for Krishna, Krishna is saying you're always actually living in me, and of this there is no doubt. So that means you will actually ultimately, if you're living in Krishna, and after death also we will be with Krishna, right? That is the ultimate goal. And this living in Krishna, thinking of Krishna, now our mind is always thinking, isn't it? They say, they say like there are some metrics, TPS, like thoughts per second. There are some big numbers. Even thoughts per second, there are big numbers like 8, 10, 12. Can you imagine in 1 second so many thoughts can also come? Suddenly if I just say something like a very hot puri, so many thoughts are coming in your mind. Where was the last time we saw a hot puri and it is puffed up or something, things like that. So mind is so capable. It can generate so many thoughts. So the mind is always thinking. So Krishna is saying, well, your mind is anyway thinking. Why don't you think of me? And our intelligence is also working. We're always trying to solve so many situations we're facing in our life. And from morning to evening, nobody will say, I am all set, I have nothing to do, I have nothing to think. Right? There's so many things. We have to plan, we have to take care of our own lives, our children's, our family, our future, our parents, our assets, so many things. Mind is always making so many plans to solve so many situations, right? That is what intelligence is used. So Krishna is saying, use your intelligence also for me. So what Krishna is saying is, is very much like a state of a pure devotee, the pure consciousness. Like for example, our spiritual master Swami Prabhupada is a perfect example of such a person. Right? And it's not that one has to become a sannyasi and renounced and take a saffron dress and give up everything to be thinking of Krishna. Actually, the beauty of Krishna consciousness movement is, we can still be thinking of Krishna while we are doing our day-to-day activities. And that is, Prabhupada said, that is the real art of living our life. How do we live our life? We can think, we have so many day-to-day duties to take care, job, family, children. How can I be thinking of Krishna? So that is why Prabhupada coined the term as Krishna consciousness. That means we have to be conscious of Krishna. If you're conscious of Krishna, you're automatically thinking of Krishna. Right? So all of you are listening to me, but you're all conscious that Krishna Balaram is right there, right? You're all conscious of the Lord. You're in the temple. That is the beauty of being in a temple. You're automatically Krishna conscious. When you're talking, when you're behaving with people, when you're interacting, you get a call or something, you're conscious. Oh, I'm in the temple. I shouldn't just, do some casual talk. I shouldn't pick up calls here. Let me go out and all that, right? So consciousness can still be there of Krishna if, even though you're doing something else, right? Now, how to come to that state? So our whole movement is known as the Krishna consciousness movement. So here Prabhupada is saying one of the main thing the devotee does, the person who is conscious of the Lord, one of the main thing he does is he's actually chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So I'll read the statement where Prabhupada is saying, and how does this Hare Krishna mantra chanting work, right? So Prabhupada is saying in the purport, the holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. So this is a very interesting revelation. Prabhupada is saying the holy name, when we say the name Krishna and Krishna himself are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. Now see, this is a very profound statement. Generally, when somebody says, oh, I'm chanting Krishna, means okay, some prayer, I'm praying to Krishna. Krishna is somewhere, in the spiritual world. Some prayer, some mood, some offering is going on, and Krishna is hearing from very far away, and he will, fulfill his desire. He will help the devotee, right? That is a very crude understanding. But actually, if you get into the technical details, Prabhupada is saying here that the Lord is actually non-different, right, from the holy name. So when you say Krishna is non-different than Krishna himself, it's very difficult to understand. Prabhupada says with this world, everything is relative. When you say water, the substance water is not same as the water, isn't it? Prabhupada says, well, if you keep saying water, 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 will our thirst go away if somebody is thirsty? No, right? Why? Because the water substance is different than the word water itself. But Prabhupada says Krishna is not like that. He's absolute. The name Krishna is same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. And then he's saying, he's taking it to the next level, that when you're chanting Krishna, because the sound Krishna is non-different than Krishna, where is the sound appearing? It's appearing on our tongue, right? So he's saying then that means the sound, if it's on the tongue, then Krishna is on the tongue. What is Krishna doing on the tongue? He's saying Krishna is actually dancing on the tongue, of the devotee. So this is how, the scriptures give us very detailed information about how the chanting of the holy name works. And in the Padma Purana, there is a very nice statement talking about the Nama, the holy name, how powerful it is. So it says, Nama Chintamani Krishnaha Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddva Nitya Mukta Abhinnatva Nama Namino. So this is a very nice verse revealing even further about the holy name of Krishna. It is saying, Nama Chintamani Krishnaha. So the Nama, the holy name of the Lord, is Chintamani. Chintamani means transcendentally blissful giver of all spiritual benedictions. So it is full of spiritual potency, the Nama, the holy name. And of whose? Krishna. Very clearly it is saying Nama of, generally you say name, whose name? So it says Nama Chintamani Krishnaha. So the Krishna's name is Chintamani. It is a fulfiller of all spiritual benedictions. And then it also says Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Chaitanya means it is full of all transcendental mellows. Rasa. When you say rasa, it is the relationship, the transcendental mellows. Can somebody just close the door? Thank you. So it is saying here that name, the holy name of Krishna is full of all transcendental mellows. Transcendental mellows means the relationship. Prabhupada explains what is a rasa. A rasa of, a devotee and the Supreme Lord. One nice rasa to understand is the Vatsalya rasa. Vatsalya is the motherly, the paternal loving affection for a child. So like Mother Yashoda and Krishna, they both exchange Vatsalya rasa. Mother Yashoda is in the Vatsalya rasa. There is a Sakya rasa, there is a rasa of friendship, like Arjuna and Krishna. They are in the mood of friendship with each other. So that is the rasa. So there are 5 rasas totally. There is the Dasya rasa in the, the mood of servitude to the Lord. There is the Sakya rasa, we talked about the friendship with the Lord. This is a rasa. There is the Vatsalya rasa, the paternal loving affection towards the Lord. That is one rasa. And then there is the Shanta rasa also. Shanta rasa means passive appreciation. Prabhupada gives an example like the peacock, in the Vrindavan, or the birds or the cows. They're in the Shantarasa, they're in the passive. They're not very actively engaged with the Lord, like the friends talking and playing, or the mother engaged with the child. But these other living beings also in Vrindavana, like the cow or the peacock or the deer, they are also giving pleasure to the Lord, right? The Lord is, you can see a lot of pictures, he's caressing the cows, and the cows are very comfortably sitting with the Lord. So they're also in a rasa. It is called Shantarasa. And then there is the highest, from our perception, is the Madhurya Rasa. What is Madhurya Rasa? It is the loving relationship, the conjugal loving relationship, just like Krishna exchanges with the gopis and Radharani and the various Sakhis. So it is loving relationship. It's like a conjugal, like a boyfriend, girlfriend kind of a relationship, right? So that is also a rasa. Now what it is saying here, the Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, the holy name is actually an embodiment of all these rasas. So that is why we see when the pure devotees, they're chanting the holy name, they're actually relishing the holy name. How are they relishing? What is it that they're relishing? It is just the name they're repeating. What is there to relish? Now if you imagine, if all these rasas are being revealed in the heart, how much relishment will be there? The relishment that Arjuna is relishing the friendship of Krishna, right? The gopis are relishing the love of Krishna. The mother Yashoda or Nanda Maharaj relishing the loving relationship with Krishna. If this love is revealed when you're chanting the holy name, can it still be boring? No, right? So that is what it is said. The holy name has the capability. Now one can say, well, I am not feeling all that. Well, that is because there is a process to be followed, right? Just like if somebody says, you start learning archery, and you can put it at the center dot, there is that target where you have to hit, right? The first day somebody takes a bow and arrow, and if he releases an arrow and he says, well, it is not even going to the center, it's going somewhere far away, I don't believe this process. No, there is a training involved. You have to come every day, practice, you should learn how to hold, you should learn how to release, you should start aiming, and then one fine day it will go and it will hit the target exactly on the dot. And it could be so, you could be so expert, you release the second arrow, it will pierce the first arrow and it will still go hit the red dot, right? So there is a process. Just like everything, there is a process, there is the learning curve involved, and then there is a stage of perfection. In the chanting of the holy name also there is a process. So, but here these Shastras are revealing us, they're giving us an impetus to continue the process. What is the impetus? Is that the Lord is, in the holy name, it has all the rasas. And then it says Purnaha. Purnaha means, many of you know, Om Purnamaha, they say, right? Purna means complete. Now this word complete, you can apply the completeness, in full meaning. The word complete means there is nothing more, anything else, everything is in it, right? So because the Lord's holy name is non-different than the Lord, and the Lord is himself is complete. Om Purnamaha, Purnamidam, Purnat, we offer the prayers. Oh Lord, you are the complete. From you, so many completes come, and they're all completely working in their own perfection, but at the same time you are still the complete absolute. So here it is saying that the holy name is non-different than the Lord, is complete. Purnaha, Shuddha. Shuddha means pure, completely pure, right? When you talk about something pure and impure, adulterated, you all know that. So Lord is 100% like completely pure. So what happens when you associate with the Lord, we will also become pure. So it is saying Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta, ever eternally liberated. And then here comes the main point, Abhinnatvam. Abhinnatvam means non-different. Abhinnatvam, non-different between what? Nama and Naminaha. He says, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. There is no difference between Nama and Namino. The person that the Nama is representing, there is no difference between them both. Again, same thing. The water and the substance water is different, but the Lord, holy name Krishna, and the Lord himself are non-different. Because we are not used to understanding, our general understanding is the sound is different than the object, whatever is said is different. It is talking about an object, but the object is not the sound. But so that is why the scriptures are clarifying, well, the Lord's sound is completely different. It is, it's not of a quality of this material substance. They are the same. Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. So this is the explanation given, and that is why, because the name, the holy name is non-different than the Lord, and the Lord personally becomes present on the tongue of the devotee, that is why miracles start happening. That is why the magic starts happening. So what is the magic? What is the miracle? What happens once one starts chanting? So it's there is a very nice composition by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You all know Lord Chaitanya, we celebrate Gaura Purnima. Lord Chaitanya is non-different than Lord Krishna himself. He has appeared 500 years ago, And Krishna says, why does he appear? Right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. Right? Abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham. So he says, whenever the dharma is declined, I will come and I will establish dharma. Right? Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Right? Very famous verses. So in the same way, 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared again. And same thing happened. Dharma glani has happened. Glani he means disturbed, lost. And then to establish the dharma. And this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu focused on Paro Dharma, the highest dharma, the perfection. There is so much, see, generally when we say dharma is an occupational duty or, our activity, our duties. In English, dharma means is translated as a religion. And if you look up what religion means a kind of faith. And we have discussed this many times in the past also. Religion actually, as per Sanskrit, the word dharma is nothing to do with religion or a kind of a faith. Prabhupada says kind of a faith means, so somebody may say, my dharma is Hindu. Well, you're Hindu, tomorrow you can change your mind, somebody else will preach to you, you will say, oh, I will become Christian. Or you can change again, I'll become Muslim, again you will become Hindu. So this something that changes is not really dharma. That is just your faith in a particular system. But the dharma is our constitutional position or occupational duty. Like Prabhupada gives an example, again this might have been discussed earlier, like the dharma of sugar is to be sweet. If somebody gives you some small white crystals and hey, try out this sugar, is it good? And if you taste it and there is no sweetness, you'll say, no, this is not sugar, this is something else. Or if it is salty, say, no, these are bigger salt crystals, this is not sugar. No, say, no, it looks same, it's like just like other sugar I have. No, the moment you say sugar, it has to be sweet. If it is not sweet, it is not doing the dharma of itself, right? So that is what Prabhupada says. Dharma means the constitutional position of something that cannot be removed. Just like dharma of fire is to, exhibit heat and light. Now if you have something where there is no heat and light and you say, oh, do you like the fire? If somebody draws a picture of a flame and puts it there, like a fire flame, a drawing with nice colors, looks very much like real, like a painting, of a flame. And you say, oh, can you see the fire? Is the fire good? You say, no, this is not fire. If there is no light and heat, it is not fire. Why? The dharma of the fire, the word itself, fire means it has to be light and heat. In the same way, the living being of all the living beings of all of us, there is a dharma. And if we are not, in our occupational constitutional position, we are also not following the dharma. Now what is the dharma? Prabhupada analyzes and says, if you can apply one thing to everyone, that everybody is serving somebody else. So service is the dharma of a living being. Now if you analyze, everybody is serving somebody. The father is serving the children, the children are serving the parents, the people are serving the nation, right? The wife is serving the husband, the parents are serving children, children are serving parents. So their service is going on everywhere. The friends are serving each other, right? So there is service. Service is something that you cannot take away. Just like the sweetness is something you cannot take away from the sugar, the heat and light you cannot take away from fire, the service is something that you cannot take away from a living being. The living being is always serving. No matter what designation, master, servant, doesn't matter. Like, sometimes, people have these pet dogs, right? So-called the owner of the dog is so-called master, but he's also serving the dog. He's taking it out, he's feeding it carefully, and making sure. The dog is also serving. Sometimes the master says, do this, do that, come here, go back. It is also following the instruction. So service is going on. Doesn't matter what your designation. You're in the master position or your subordinate position, a dog or a human, both are serving. Every living being, if you analyze like this, service is something that you cannot remove from a living being. So that is why the dharma of the living being is to do service. But now dharma glani. This dharma, there is a glani, there is a disturbance in the dharma. Now if you say, what is there for Lord to come and establish? Anyway, everybody is serving, right? The dog is serving, the master is serving, the parents, children. So service is going on. So dharma, everyone is doing their dharma, isn't it? What is the problem? No. There is a problem in the dharma. It is not being done properly. There is a glanihi. And Krishna comes to establish that service has to be done to Krishna. So that is the glani, that is the loss. Oh, we are thinking, I have to serve Krishna, not my family. No, by serving Krishna, you will automatically serve your family. Take an example, a housewife is cooking food. We'll say, you have to, serve Krishna. This food that you cooked, you should offer to Krishna first. When you offer to Krishna, what will Krishna do? He will accept it, Bhavagrahi Janardana. Krishna, just your mood, that the fact that you're offering is sufficient. He will accept it and then he wants to give the prasadam to everyone. So naturally, you will end up giving prasadam to the rest of the family. So what did you do? By serving Krishna, you actually served your family also. So service to others will not be lost when you serve the Lord. Your service to others will become perfect. Why? Because now, because you serve Krishna, you are giving prasadam to your family. So your service to the family has become perfect. Why? Because when you cook food, there is some sin involved. Yagnasista asano santa muchante sarva kilvishe. Why sin involved? There is life in every living being. There is life in every grain. There is life in every plant. Now you are killing that for your sustenance. What about that sin? So Krishna says, Aham tvama sarva papebhyo mokshishyami. Right? If you offer to me, the sin is removed because you are doing it for me. So your service to your family, your nation, everything will become perfect if you include Krishna in your life and you're actually doing it as a service to Krishna. And if you can somehow figure out how I can use this for service to Krishna. Right? So this is how Krishna is coming and saying this dharma is lost and I am trying to establish it. That is why he tells Arjuna, see here, what is he telling Arjuna? This is a very clear instruction. He says, you always, be in me, think of me, abide in me, live by me. Okay, you living by all that. Did Arjuna leave battlefield and Arjuna and Krishna go to a forest and Arjuna was just massaging the feet of Krishna? No, right? He still fought the battle. He still won the battle. They still took up the roles of kings. They have ruled the whole Bharatvarsha. Hastinapura was the capital. So by becoming devotee of Krishna, by following Krishna, our duty, our so-called duty, dharma will become perfect without any glanihi. And that is what Krishna consciousness is all about. It is a transformation of consciousness. It is not a transformation of a real activity. Like I was saying, like Swami Prabhupada, it is not that you have to take up a saffron dress and become a sannyasi and travel. You have to transform your consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada also, even in his householder life, he was a family man, he had a business, he had children, but he was also serving Krishna. How? By spreading this knowledge, by spreading this message. He was translating books, he was writing articles, he was preaching, he was conducting nice programs at his home, and he was giving this knowledge to everybody. So we can continue to serve Krishna. So now we can have our mind in Krishna, our intelligence in Krishna. Like how? How can I give this knowledge to others? You could be doing your day-to-day activities and you could think, oh, I'm going to this birthday party. Let me give this nice Krishna book. They will read the stories of Krishna and they will, This is how your mind should be in Krishna. This is how your intelligence can be in Krishna. You're inviting some friends, you're conducting some nice function. You want to give some written gifts. Oh, let me give this nice Krishna story books to them, right? So it is possible. It is not that, oh, I have to renounce everything, go away somewhere. No, if we just transform our consciousness, if we get the right understanding, if you understand what is the real dharma, what is it that Krishna is trying to say here, then we can, being in our day-to-day life, doing our day-to-day activities, we can still serve Krishna. We can still follow the instruction of Krishna, right? So the definition of, the constitutional position of the life of a living being, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, Jeever Swarupa Nityar Krishna Das. So this is our real Swarupa. Real constitution position is, we are servant of Krishna. And by serving Krishna, we are naturally serving others also. Like here you see the devotees, lot of devotees. We are all servants of Krishna. Doesn't mean now we are all something on our own. We are still doing service. Akshay Patra is one of the, a nice service being done, feeding hungry children, providing to the poor. So all kinds of services are still being done, but they're being done in the right consciousness, in a perfect way, so that people will actually be benefited not just temporarily, but long term also. Right? Like I will give a very crude example. Everything else, all our duties should be focused towards the primary duty, the primary goal. Like in life, it is said there are secondary goals and there are primary goal, or secondary duty and primary duty. I'll give a very crude example. Somebody who is working in a company, he has a family, children. So working in the office is his duty, isn't it? But at the same time, that becomes a secondary duty, because the primary duty is to take care of the family. Like he's earning and living so that he can take care of his family, children, and help them out, right? Now, if he goes to the office and he just remains in the office all day and night, no, I have got this job, I have to work. There is so much to be done. The company has some goal. It wants to increase its profits by 20%. Oh, that means so much work has to be done. And if he just sits in the office all day and night, then that duty is not perfect, right? That is just a secondary duty to assist in the primary duty of his own livelihood, his family and children. In the same way, Krishna is telling us there is one more level. We are thinking, oh, I am not one of that person. I am not just sitting in office or doing work. I am taking care of my family and children. But Krishna is revealing us that there is one more level, the Paro Dharma. You're taking care of family and children, that you're thinking is all in all, but that is a secondary duty. Your primary duty is for all of you to be engaged in my service. That is the primary goal of life. And that is when Krishna says, what will happen if you do that? If you all serve Krishna, then Mamopetya Kaunteya Dukkalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti. So we are all in this temporary place and we are facing so many miseries. So Krishna is saying, if you turn yourself to serve me, along with you, yourself, your family, your community, your nation, you will actually come out of this material world, of this temporary world where there are full of miseries, so many difficulties, so many challenges we are facing. Everything ultimately to be ended one day, isn't it? We work so hard, we face so many challenges, we solve so many problems, we do so many things, but ultimately everything is ending. One by one, everything ends. Our previous generations have ended. Our, one generation, our parents, their generation will end. And one fine day even our generation will end. And we have worked for the next generation, they will also end. And all the problems and things we solve, they all remain here. The money we accumulated will remain here. The assets we built will remain here. The body we have taken care so nicely would be remaining here, isn't it? At the time of death, the body only remains. The soul leaves. The real person leaves the body. That is why everyone is crying, oh, he has left, he has left. Well, the body is right there. What are you crying about? No, the soul has left. So Krishna is saying, don't be stuck in this temporary world. Everything is going to be lost anyway. So work towards your eternal abode. That is called as Vaikuntha. That is the spiritual world, right? So by chanting this holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, and engaging ourselves in Krishna consciousness, in serving the Lord, what it will do is it will transform our consciousness. We are currently very, narrow-minded, like people say, right? Narrow-minded and broad-minded. What is narrow-mindedness? You're only thinking of a very limited area, limited zone. You're not taking the big picture into consideration, and you're behaving very immaturely, right? Sometimes small children, they're very narrow-minded, right? They want to play on the beach. It has become evening. They will cry. If you say, come home, let's go home, let's go back to home. They're crying, no, I want to play in the beach. What is this? They're very narrow-minded. They're just focused on the fact that, it is a playtime and I'm losing my playtime. But the parents are broad-minded. They're open-minded. They have the big picture. They know it will become soon dark. It will be difficult. The waves will become higher and, there will be no light and they will face trouble and difficulty. That is, because they take the bigger picture into consideration. So this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is giving us the bigger picture. Not to be narrow-minded in just this life, my life, my body, my family, my children, my health, my assets, my property. Well, all this it is like the wave in the ocean. Right? Sometimes we build castles on the beach, right? Children play. What happens? Evening comes, big tide comes and everything goes away. So next day the beach is very clean for all other children to play. Right? It is not piled up with castles. So our life is also like that. If you are very narrow-minded, only thinking about, okay, my limited, purview of what I can think, it is like a big wave. Unfortunately, death is like that big wave. It will come and it will collapse all our castles and everything. Everything is lost. So the Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual knowledge, is giving us information to come out of that narrow-mindedness and look at the bigger picture, understand the bigger picture, that we are here. It is a temporary life. Prabhupada says this is a bad bargain, but you can make best use of the bad bargain. Why it is bad bargain? Everything seems to be temporary. Well, why am I doing all this? There was a person actually who committed suicide. He did this very deep analysis, but he did not read Bhagavad Gita. So he did this very deep analysis and said, then why should I live? Everything I'll do, work so hard, ultimately just to lie, just to leave everything here and die one day. Why not I die now itself? Why go through all this hassle, isn't it? Is it fun to go through, live this life? So many responsibilities, so many anxieties, so many difficulties, so many challenges. So that person just ended his life. From an intellectual perspective, it seems like a very reasonable thing to do. Yeah, anyway, he has to die. Why go through all difficulties? Why not die now? But that is where the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is coming. Yes, it is a bad bargain. There are going to be so many difficulties, but you can make best use of the bad bargain. What is this? Before this life ends, you can make a solution to this repetition of this birth, death, old age and disease, and you can transfer yourself to a completely different existence, which is known as spiritual world, and there you can live eternally. Right? It is that is the prayer, the very famous prayer from childhood we are taught. Nowadays nobody is being taught, at least. Right? Asatoma Sadgamaya, we used to pray, remember, in many of our school childhood. What does it mean? Asat means temporary. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Sat means eternal. So we are praying to the Lord, just like Krishna is saying, Bhagavad Gita, you chant Hare Krishna for what? For Asatoma Sadgamaya, from temporary to please take me to a permanent place. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Tamas means darkness, lack of knowledge. Jyotirgamaya, please give me knowledge. The lack of knowledge, people are born with ignorance. They don't know what is purpose of life, what to do end of this life, what happens at the end of life, who is God, who am I, what is sin, what is pious activity, what is papa, what is punya, what is narka, what is swarga. We have no understanding. So Krishna reveals everything in Bhagavad Gita, right? Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. And then mrutyorma amrutam gamaya. This is it. Mrityu. Mrityu sarva harascha aham. Krishna says Mrityu is ending everything. We talked about that final wave that collapses all the sand castles. Then mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Amruta means where there is no death. Please take me to the place where there is no death anymore. Amruta, right? So that is what the real knowledge and understanding is. And when we chant this Hare Krishna mantra, all this knowledge will be revealed. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I was talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came 500 years ago. So he composed this Siksashtaka, and in the first verse he clearly says how this chanting helps, how this chanting works. He says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Chetaha means our consciousness, our mind is like a mirror, but it is filled with dust. Just like a mirror which is covered with dust, we can't see anything clearly, isn't it? Or even a glass. If somebody gives a glass and you're supposed to see through it, but if it is fully covered with dust, nothing is clear. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam, when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, our heart, our mind becomes cleansed. All the dust accumulated from past so many lives will be cleared. And Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. So once our heart becomes cleansed, we will be less attached, to narrow-minded thinking, and we will become more matured, and we will think broad-minded. And then Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. So actually the blazing fire of material existence, there are so many difficulties we are all facing. It will be, Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam, it will be extinguishing. Just like if there is a forest fire, suddenly if there is a big rain, it will extinguish. So the miseries we are going through is considered, is compared to a forest fire, and the chanting of the holy name is like the rain that will extinguish it. So our miseries will be reduced. And then Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, it will give us the blessings of the cool blessings of a full moon day. Like, when a very hot day, Prabhupada says, in India at least, very hot day, but evening if there is full moon and people lie down, on the cot outside, they feel very relishing, very pleasing, right? So this chanting will give us that very pleasing experience, right? Bhava and Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadu Jivanam, it is the life, it is the essence of all teachings. And Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam, there is actually continuous relishing of bliss. We talked about all the rasas. And then Sarvapna Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So it will actually, cleanse, it will satisfy the soul to its completeness. And that is why it says Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So it is very glorified. So just by this chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, our heart becomes cleansed, because we talked about Krishna is not different than his sound name. So when Krishna comes and starts dancing on our tongue, because he is the purest of the pure, all our impurities will go away, and all our narrow-mindedness will go away. What are the results of this narrow-mindedness? It leads to all these improper things like lust, greed, anger, envy, jealousy. These things will go away. We will become broad-minded, we will become pure-hearted, we will become cleansed, we will become pacified, we will become happy, we will become satisfied. Even if we are not as rich as the millionaire sitting next door, we will still be satisfied with what we have, because we will have the maturity. Well, anyway, this is all temporary. Why I should worry about so much? My real purpose of life is to go back to Krishna, right? So in this way, the chanting will cleanse one's heart, and it will slowly take them back to Godhead. And it will also reveal all the transcendental mellows in the heart. And the devotee actually will come to a stage where they will relish every moment. Chanting the holy name will become like nectar. Prabhupada says, initially like a jaundice patient, if you give him sugar candy, it will taste very bitter. The person who has jaundice, actually, if you give him sugar candy, it will taste very bitter. But then sugar candy seems to help a jaundice patient. So they will say, still keep licking it, even though it is bitter. So as they go on tasting it, as the jaundice comes down, they will start relishing the pleasure. They will start seeing that, oh, this is actually sweet and tasty. So in the same way, the chanting of the holy name, it is said, initially it might seem bitter, tasteless, boring, repetitive. But if you go on doing it slowly, like the jaundice cures the sugar candy cures the jaundice, the holy name will cure our jaundice, our disease of material influence, and slowly we will start tasting the nectar of the holy name. So I'll stop here, and it's a good time. We can all chant the holy name and pray to the Lord to help us come out of our material misgivings, come out of our narrow-mindedness, get rid of all the impurities in the heart, and we can pray to the Lord to please help me start relishing, the taste of your bliss, your mercy. Right? So I'll request I can get one set of beats. Yeah. So before we start chanting, we'll chant the Panchatattva mantra and the Guru Pranam mantra. After that, we'll all together chant Hare Krishna mantra. So please repeat the Panchatattva mantra. Actually, Guru Pranam mantra. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we'll all chant the Hare Krishna mantra together. So it is said we should pronounce very clearly and hear very attentively. Why? Because Lord Krishna is dancing on our tongue. So we should pay attention to the holy name. Okay, so together we'll all chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram.